What is up, player profiler faithful? It's Matty Kiwoom. Welcome to the latest episode of The Game Plan. While you're here, make sure you're subscribed to the Player Profiler YouTube channel. Smash that like button and get ready to leave a whole bunch of comments because we got a banger of an episode for you today. So, gang, get out your pen and pad and let's start game planning to properly evaluate these rookies now that we know what NFL rosters they belong to. Planners, today I am joined by a very special guest. He is a friend of the show, making his second appearance on the game plan. He is the host of the Futurecast, the co-host of the Players Lounge, the man behind the Player Profiler mocks. Matter of fact, he was top 20 in the most prestigious mock draft competition on the dang planet. Ladies and gents, you already know I'm talking about the dog, the director of football at Player Profiler, Cody Carpentier. What is up, my brother?
My brother, I appreciate you for having me on the game plan. Two-time guest right here. I had to join Matty, Doja Cat, DeRoges. I appreciate you for again. I mean, we just got done talking for half an hour about these damn rookies deep in the depths over on Patreon. And let's jump in the game plan and let's keep on digging because that's what we do best.
You mentioned the Patreon. What Patreon are you talking about there, Cody?
Patreon.com/executives. That's both me and Matty.
Yeah, I never get it right either. I can never get it right.
Both of us. Every time, I was gonna say, if I'm on the opposite camera, then I point this way. It's like all fucked up. Both of us over on Patreon.com/executives. Got some rookie drafts popping off today. We got a startup best ball dynasty best ball draft going up in 3 weeks over on the executives. It's going to be the executives league #1 with both Matty and me in it. Go jump on over there. And we just dropped a second episode this week, the executives of rookies, where we just talked about the deep depths of this wide receiver class and how we're attacking it in these rookie drafts. And like I said, I'm on the clock. I just talked about this at the 4:03, and I'm between Eric Gray and Zach Evans. There's actually one asshole in front of me, but that's where we're at. So, but anyway, Matty, Doja Cat, DeRoges, I appreciate you having me
on. Of course, Cody, you're always welcome here on the game plan. We got a whole lot to talk about. Last week was the NFL draft. Your boys were there live in KC. The Player Profile Draft House was an absolute blast. We streamed for 15 hours. The two of us were together for, I think, 6 hours, 7 hours. And you know what? We kept going.
Too many.
Damn near. It was a beast mode, but it was a ton of fun. So we got and we're going to reevaluate some of these rookies now that we know their landing spots. And then we are going to do a nice little 1-round quick rookie mock to figure out how we value these guys now that they have an NFL team. But before we get in, let's hear from the Podfiler about FFPC.
You know, people always ask me, hey, what is the World Series of fantasy or the Super Bowl of fantasy football? And it's easy. It's the FFPC, the Fantasy Football Players Championship. It's a $6 million prize pool. And they've had their Never Too Early Best Ball leagues cranking since February. And so the FFPC is the answer to so many questions. Hey, where's the best place to get a Dynasty Orphan? Well, you can adopt a Dynasty Orphan at the FFPC. That's why we partner with them. If you want to play fantasy football for low, medium, high stakes, seasonal, best ball, dynasty, go to the FFPC. And don't forget, promo code Underworld to get you $25 off your first team. $25 off your first team, no matter what team it is, no matter what format it is, at the FFPC. Go do it.
FFPC, join today and grab yourself another little Dynasty Orphan. And after you listen to this episode, you will be ready to go in these rookie drafts. So, Cody, I got a question for you. So let's start it off with a little hot and popping question. What are your thoughts on Will Levis now that he went in round number 2?
Where'd he go?
The Tennessee Titans.
A month ago, what did we say? The 2 spots we didn't want him to go.
Titans and I think it was Texans.
Bingo. And he went to the Titans. He got Derrick Henry still, which is a plus.
That's a plus.
They still got Chig.
Yo,
They still got Treylon Burks.
they do too.
And then they used a first-round pick on Peter Skoronski.
Beast.
Right?
Yep.
Right. And they trust what they have in Nicholas Petit-Frere at right tackle. They get Aaron Brewer at center. They're trying to build cheap on the offensive line. This has been something we've seen fail year after year in the NFL, trying to build cheap. But they did spend that big capital on Skoronski, probably to play guard. I'm interested to see what their dynamic is, because Vrabel comes in and says, yep, Levis is 3, Willis is 2, Tannehill's 1. But Tannehill's obviously got the big contract. Willis obviously flamed out for everybody last year.
No doubt about it.
And then you have Levis that comes in, and Levis, it shouldn't take him but a few weeks of throwing the football to surpass Willis, because Willis always needed a little bit of time. Levis does need a little bit of time, but I think he's got the guy in front of him to kind of help him progress over the offseason. One of the big reasons he fell was because his mentality, his ego. He's a little too muscular for the position. A lot of stupid things, and that can be a bias of opinions, right? Saying, well, yeah, he's too jacked. Okay, well, I actually talked about that, about the likes of Anthony Richardson being too jacked, but he also went in the first round. So when NFL teams say that, it's like, okay, whatever. I think what it was really just the off-field, the interviews, the ego, and things like that caused him to really fall. That's okay. Jim Irsay said he would have taken him if Richardson wasn't there. So there's just really weird thought and dynamic of like, okay, so if Richardson would have went 3, then maybe Levis goes 4, but instead he goes 33. Whatever. I really don't care. The point is he went to a spot that's not optimal. And so for rookie drafts, it's going to turn into an even bigger value because people already hated him. So in Superflex, it wouldn't shock me if he falls to the 10, 11, 12, 201 in certain leagues. It's just stupid. It doesn't make sense. But do I love this land spot? No. Do I still love Will Levis? Do I still trust the process on Will Levis? Yes, but probably at like an 85% clip comparison to where I was.
Right. And I mean, getting Skoronski in the first and then Will Levis in the second, we actually talked about it before privately. Would you rather have that happen, or would you rather have him go 11 and have them take Osiris Torrance or a second round lineman? So in the end of it, maybe it all comes out in the wash where the addition of a Skoronski truly helps Will Levis. And this offense, it works for quarterbacks. We've seen Ryan Tannehill have sneaky value. 2 years ago, he was running back 9 on a points per game, quarterback 9 on a points per game basis. And the thing that I think gets a little bit forgotten with Will Levis is he has a little bit of that sneaky athleticism. 72nd percentile 40-yard dash, 87th percentile burst score. I still believe in Will Levis. Matter of fact, in the rookie draft that I am in, I traded up to get him. And in the startup that I'm in, I took him over Derek Carr. Was that the right or wrong move?
That's tough.
It's tough.
That's tough. I think
I wanted both.
Because
Disclaimer, I wanted both, but I ended up just getting Levis and then Mac Jones.
I hate that.
Why?
I would have probably tried to take one of these guys, and then I would have tried to like move a pick and try to get up and just to have them both, because I like what Carr has as far as the talent around him is beautiful. It's exactly what you want. And I don't think Jake Hayner's actually going to be a pressing player behind him.
No.
Whereas Levis is going to be pressing for the job. And I think as far as like age and opportunity goes, the ceiling can rise for Levis. I like them both. It's really weird because both these guys are always going to be values. It's going to be the same situation for Levis that you've seen for Carr, where he's going to throw over 4 racks and 28 touchdowns, and people are going to be like, this guy sucks ass. And it's like, okay, yeah, but he was quarterback 14. Okay, but he's quarterback 12. And it's like, okay, cool, I'll take it. And like that, for me, if Levis gets a starting job in the next year, he's going to be that as a floor, in my opinion.
Okay. Let's get back into the rookie landing spots thing. And I wanted to ask this question. This is more of a big picture, kind of like zoom it out here type of question. How much do these landing spots factor into your rookie evaluations?
I mean, mostly more so than draft capital. I think was your question. I think I think the draft capital is nice to a certain extent, and it matters for certain positions at certain areas, but when we're talking landing spot, like you can get down to these hairy situations where we just talked on Patreon on this, talking about the wide receiver landing spots. When you get down past Josh Downs, it's like the floor falls out on landing spots as far as expectation in year one, right? Tank Dell's supposed to be this best friend to CJ Stroud, but Tank Dell's 165 pounds. He's going to be competing with, Xavier Hutchinson, Robert Woods,
John Mechie,
Nico. Like there's a lot of people, Brevin Jordan, plus you got the backfield there.
Dalton Schultz they brought into town.
Jalen Hyatt's got people to compete with. Rashi Rice's got people to compete with. Trey Tucker's got people to compete with. So it's like, if these guys, the landing spots can be as good as they can be, right? You can say, okay, Rashi Rice goes to Kansas City. Woo! Yeah, but not so fast, right? Jalen Hyatt, he goes to New York. They need a receiver. Yeah, but not so fast. Like I think I like the landing spot, but it's like not so fast, right? You like Darius Slayton, and I think he kind of fits a similar role. Landing spot matters. Trey Tucker, beautiful landing spot for 2024. Right. So all these things take into account. As far as fantasy expectation and fantasy output goes, you have to weigh them both. It's kind of like the conversation of film versus analytics. It's like, well, if you're on one side, fuck you. I hope I didn't lose monetization, but like that's how I roll. Like if I only watch film.
Wrong.
I only look at numbers.
Wrong.
Okay. I only look at draft capital.
Wrong.
I only look at landing spot.
Wrong.
Like you see what I'm saying here? Like
I thought we were gonna keep going. That was fun.
Keep putting these things together. It's like you have to use everything. You have to use all these things. It's like saying, well, I only draft guys that are 20.0 and younger. Okay.
Wrong.
Well, exactly. Like you know what I'm saying?
Then you
there's
lost
so many different things that go into all this. It's not just like
much.
I found the trick. The trick is this guy went round one. I take him.
Yeah. It's nothing's as cut and dry as top 40 draft capital equals this, top 50 draft capital equals that. Like we have outliers at every which way. You got to be able to really kind of take in every different aspect and balance it out here. And you talked about draft capital, landing spot. Let me ask you this. What's more important, draft capital or landing spot?
Landing spot. Give me the landing spot because like that's where, like we just talked about this, but like, oh, if this guy doesn't go, if this receiver doesn't go in top 55, he is dead. If this receiver doesn't go in top 55, he is a roster clogger. Like, no. How about this guy falls to round 5 and the opportunity is 100? Kayshon Boutte, this guy falls to round 6. We know that the talent exists there, but you're just going to say, nope, I'm not going to touch him ever. Okay, well, the process that you have right now is wrong because if we get to fall, if you get him at the 409 in rookie drafts, that is value because those are darts that you can throw on a goddamn Sean Tucker, on a Deuce Vaughn, on a Chris Rodriguez. It's like, okay, I'm going to throw that dart on a 20.9-year-old wide receiver that did it at LSU. He's going to Bill Belichick. And guess what? If fall comes around and he gets cut, it's going to do the same thing for your team as it would have if you would have picked up, name whatever guy, Justin Shorter, Parker Washington, Keaton Mitchell, Tanner McKee, any of these dudes in the 4th, 5th round. I'm going to throw my dart on a guy because I like the spot and because I like the circumstances that he presents in the situation he's in, not because of the draft capital, because he went in the 6th. Now the 6th and 7th round is a little stretchy, but
of course,
and he's kind of a different situation, but like, you have to take all of these things into account. And I think that's kind of the thing I was talking about a minute ago with the film versus analytics and drafting spot versus draft capital. Yeah. But I think when the push comes to shove, if I had to only have one, it would be the landing spot because of depth chart, situation, all that stuff.
Yeah, offensive schemes fit better players, all that good stuff. But that's why you come to the game plan because we're going to give you stuff. We're going to supply you with tools, and you don't have to just use a hammer. You can use a screwdriver. You can use a Sawzall. You can use whatever tool that you need in a given situation to help you succeed. That's why you tune in to the game plan. I want to ask you this. This is probably my favorite question on the show sheet here because I think it's going to have a nice little back and forth here. But give me your 3 favorite landing spots in this year's draft.
My 3 favorite landing spots. Well, one is Jordan Addison. He's the
smash.
The new 20. Again, let's see the verb this right. Jackson Smith-Njigba's the number 1 wide receiver when it comes to Dynasty, I think, in this class. But number 1 wide receiver in the 2023 season for the rookies, I think, is Jordan Addison because of this landing spot. This is hemmed up to be the best thing I mean, this is awesome. I don't really know what to
It's
say.
magic.
It's beautiful. It's
so beautiful.
effervescent. It's everything you want.
Ooh, a great word, Cody.
The Jahmyr Gibbs one I actually kind of like because Jameson's out, right? And these guys are actually pretty similar body types. And Jahmyr Gibbs can play out wide, play wide receiver, play in the slot. He can move around the entire formation. Well, they have Montgomery there. So the thought and the focus will be more so on that big, hefty runner. Well, Gibbs is going to be out in space. Gibbs is going to be everything that they've – I said this in a meeting the other day, and it was like, whoa, he's 15 pounds lighter than DeAndre Swift. And it's like, no, Gibbs is what they wanted Swift to be. Gibbs has proven to stay healthy. Yep. Tech, Bama, he's going to do it again at Detroit. They just, they burnt up the Swift shares. They burnt up. I never owned a single share of Swift in his fantasy life because I didn't like him coming out of college. Guess what? Guess who likes Gibbs? Daddy does. So I like Gibbs. I like him in Detroit. I like Addison is my favorite spot. Yep. I'll take Gibbs as that second one. These are like cliche top end dudes. But when you scroll that ticker down, I think that Trey Tucker spot in Las Vegas is one of my favorite just because you can see the end coming for Hunter Renfrow. And what this offense is going to do is it's going to lean on this in the slot area the same way that it has for the Renfros. And I think Trey Tucker is going to be a guy in 2024 for Dynasty. I love that spot. Marvin Mims, we talked about him on Patreon as well, being in that Sean Payton role with he drafted Kenny Stills in the 5th round, his first draft with New Orleans. The next year he comes back, takes Brandon Cooks, and then the next year he trades Kenny Stills. Drafted Kenny Stills in the 5th. 2 years later, traded him for a 3rd and a linebacker, Danielle Ellerbe. So that's called value. That's called how you. That's how you run a franchise. You upgrade. You take Stills and then you upgrade with Cooks the next year. Now his first pick as a Denver Bronco is not 5th or 1st round. It's a 3rd round pick, and they go Marvin Mims. I think it's going to be a guy that slots right in there. He's going to be a value for his eternity. Being in Denver, being with Russ. It's Russ's Lockett. It's Peyton's Cook. It's going to be a beautiful. I just took him with the 20. I don't know what the fuck it was, 204 maybe, and it's a hard button to press.
202 or 204, something like that.
It's gonna be a hard button to press, but it's gonna be one that you're not gonna regret.
Yeah, those are good landing spots. I was hoping to have a little bit of back and forth, but then you go ahead and drop some absolute nuggets on me. Some really good landing spots. The Addison one obviously was an absolute smash. What Kirk Cousins is able to do in terms of passing volume is great. Adam Thielen, see you later, bud. He leaves 107 targets that Addison is probably going to pick up in its entirety. But a couple that you did not mention that I think are fantastic landing spots. Number one, Deuce Vaughn going to the Cowboys. His skill set, they don't really have anything there other than Tony Pollard to catch the ball. Tony Pollard, if he needs some rest with that, ankle recovery, all that stuff. I think Deuce Vaughn now being able to play with the Cowboys, he's going to see a bunch of touches that I didn't think we could have seen if he went to a number of other teams. So I think that was a sneaky good landing spot. Number 2 for me, Roshan Johnson going to the Bears. Khalil Herbert, 6th round pick. We love him because he's efficient, but still 6th round pick. See you later. And then on top of that, they brought in Deontay Foreman. They only gave him $2 million. He's really just a backup. Roshan Johnson comes in early day 3 capital. And the second the Bears bring him in, what are they saying about this kid? He's built different. This kid ain't like you and me. This kid's different. We know he's going to pass, bro. He has the size. He also has a lot of similarities to a David Montgomery. And we've seen David Montgomery year in and year out overperform his expectations in the fantasy community. So Roshan going to the Bears is fantastic. I think it was Jason. Yeah, it was Jason. Jason on Wake and Take. Shout out Jason Allwine on the Wake and Take. Brought up that the Bears have a Grizzly rating. Did they copy? Did they steal that from my boy?
Cox.
Yeah, they took it. They stole your dog rating called the Grizzly rating.
What a bunch of cucks, dude.
What a. But hey, whatever.
This is a real thing.
I believe so.
This is the first I've ever heard of this.
Yes, the Grizzly rating. It has to do with the Grizzlies, the meanest bear in the world. And they call these kids Grizzlies. And Roshan ranked pretty highly on the dog rating, right? He did. So they stole your shit, bro. You did. Hey, maybe you'll have a job in Chicago soon. Who knows? But my other landing spot, my favorite landing spot, the best landing spot in the entire rookie draft was AR-15. A-Rich going to the Colts, absolute smash spot. He's got the weapons, the coach, the culture, all that good stuff. Cody's dumbfounded here because he learned that the NFL team is copying his stuff. I'm glad I could break that to you live on the game plan here today.
God dang, man.
I'm not lying. We'll have to confirm this with Jason, but he said this on Wake and Take yesterday when I was watching that show.
I'm kind of tilted right now. I'm kind of tilted right now.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but that means that your process is there. Now we talk about landing spots. What are your 3 least favorite landing spots for incoming rookies for fantasy football?
I'm gonna be honest with you. You kind of broke my brain. I don't know. I was not ready for that at all.
I wasn't ready to even bring that up. It just kind of came out as we were talking landing spots.
Least favorite landing spots, not because I care, but because it just nukes him. Zach Charbonnet. I wasn't ahead on Zach Charbonnet, and now this kind of people are starting to dig holes. They're trying to like dig up out of a hole, but instead they're actually digging deeper because they're like, yeah, but this means that him should be 2 spots below him in Dynasty. Kenneth Walker being him. Zeke Charbonnet should be 2 spots below Kenneth because like, no, stop digging. Okay, stop digging the hole. Quit. I don't like the land spot because
no, it's not good. It's not
him
good
and
at
Jackson. We'll just put him and Jackson together in the same answer. Number 1, Jackson plus Charbonnet. I think it nerfs them both. I think it nerfs any fantasy upside for both guys in year 1 and 2. Really, for me, until I see what they do at quarterback, which I don't know when or what they're going to do at quarterback outside of Geno. If it stayed with Geno, I'm just going to be out on both these guys probably for the eternity of their careers. The next one that I disliked was Evan Hull. Evan Hull was a late round guy that a lot of people liked. The athleticism was there. He goes into Indianapolis behind Jonathan Taylor. He's essentially going to be a glorified Naheem Hines. So it's a guy that you think he's going to be a value, and you think it's the ideal handcuff to be behind Jonathan Taylor until Jonathan Taylor gets hurt and they sign an Adrian Peterson or some stupid shit like this off the street, right? Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt, Zeke. All these dudes are out here. There's just of those 4 names we just named, there's like 10 more beneath them that are 225 pounds and will come in and will just be an asshole to Evan Hull. Abanikanda, I think, can be in the same conversation to the Jets. They got Zonovan, they got Michael Carter, they got Breece Hall. What does Abanikanda? I love the phone call they had with him. They're like, hey, another great back from Pitt was here. Curtis Martin. They expect high things. I'm like, go, yeah, cool. Put this on this kid day 1. Yeah, Curtis Martin or bust. That's where you're at. So that's another one there. Hendon Hooker going to Detroit. Don't love it because they're trying to extend Goff. And as much as I don't think they should extend Goff, it sounds like they're going to. There was rumors of Richardson going to Detroit. Instead, they get Hooker in the 3rd. So there's really no arms tied to him. Obviously, we saw Willis go in the 3rd last year, Corral go in the 3rd last year. There's no arms tied to either of these dudes. And if Hooker comes in and isn't quite on the same level, again, that's why you saw Hooker, Tillman, Hyatt, round 3. It kind of got nerfed as far as it goes, as far as expectation goes, an ideal landing spot goes, sending Hooker to Detroit. Again, the weapons are there, but the offense is not schemed the same as Tennessee. Whereas I would put, if you're going to put him in a spot like this, why not have him be the one that goes to Kansas City and sits behind Patty Mack, where it's a high-powered, potent offense or whatever that you can build around. I guess there's not really a lot of spots that I hate. Just trying to scroll through here and look. I really like a lot of these, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the only one I will give a little bit of pushback here on Evan Hull, because I think that given where he was going to go in the NFL draft, he was going to be somebody's handcuff. We weren't going to see him go to a landing spot where Evan Hull was about to get a whole bunch of touches. Now, would have been better if he went to Cincinnati? I think so.
The Giants.
The Giants. But, I mean, I think the Giants and the Colts are still relatively the same in terms of what we need to happen for something for Hull to be able to play. And
like Saquon's been much more satellite.com than fucking Jonathan Taylor has, Like, I think they're going to want that downhill donkey. Like, Indianapolis wants that downhill asshole where, like, the Giants, like, you know what I'm saying?
That might be the title of the show here, Downhill Assholes. Donkeys and downhill assholes. No, but I'm saying like we've seen the dart, Deion Jackson be fantasy relevant. We've seen these backups to Jonathan Taylor be relevant. So if we're looking for someone to hop right in if Taylor gets hurt, and he is coming off an injury plagued 2022 season, I think that's a good little spot there for Evan Hull. But I do understand what you're saying in terms of there could have been better ones. There probably better ones, but I think this is a pretty good one for Hull. Another one that I like, I brought it up on the Patreon episode we just did. I hate Jalen Hyatt's landing spot. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. The common
tough. So tough.
There's a ton of guys they brought in. I know the sentiment around is the receiver that goes to the New York Giants is going to get a ton of volume.
Yep.
Is he though?
He's not a volume guy.
He's not a volume guy. Darius Slayton is almost a cookie cutter cloth cutout of what he kind of provides, and he just came off a 700-yard receiving season. We have Wan'Dale Robinson, who has high draft capital in 2022 coming back. They brought back, the old man Sterling Shepard. Isaiah Hodgins looked good playing for them. They signed Paris Campbell. They didn't throw him a big contract, but we saw Paris Campbell really produce for the Colts down the stretch at the end of the fantasy season. So I think you factor all this in, and Hyatt becomes just your best ball type of dart throw.
Cookie cutter cloth cutout.
Cookie cutter cloth cutout.
Say that 4 times fast.
Downhill donkeys, downhill assholes, cookie cutter cloth cutout.
Downhill donkeys doing the dog job. I don't know.
I want to ask you about one landing spot too that we didn't bring up, whether it's good or it's bad. Charlie Football going to the Cincinnati Bungles.
I love that more than I like Yosivash. And I want to correct this while we're on stream because I got misquoted and I got some hate on Twitter, which is complete fugazi. I did not say Andre Yosivach was going to replace Higgins and Charlie Football was going to replace Tyler Boyd. I said, in an ideal world for the Bengals, so an ideal world for the football team that drafted both guys, in an ideal world for the Bengals, Charlie Football would be the replacement to Tyler Boyd to save money. Yep. In an ideal world, Andre Yosivach would be the replacement for T. Higgins to save money. They are similar prospects, similar athletes, not similar prospects, sorry. They're similar athletes with similar body types. And I think that both would fit well into those molds. I'm not saying that they will replace them. That's a fucking cockamamie,
fake news
thought.
That's fake news.
Yosivach is going to come out here and beat out T. Higgins in week 2 and they're going to trade T. Higgins. No, I never said that. So shout out to Jack for the misquote. But
hey, but also shout out to Jack because he owned up to it immediately at the draft house.
I walked up to him. That was awesome. That was the greatest thing about being at the draft house was like normally we're all virtual. So it's like, damn, man, Jack really misquoted me on purpose. And it's like, okay, it worked on Twitter. I love that shit. I love that shit when it pops and there people are just talking shit. But it was funny because we was like outside and I come in and I walk up to Jack and go, Jack, what the hell was that? He goes, I'm sorry, man. And I was like, I'm just fucking with you, bro. That was funny as shit. But I was like, it was just the fact that I could walk up to him. I was like, bro, what the hell? What are you doing? And he's like, oh, man. But, and I was like, no, it was hilarious.
He's like, I'm sorry, dude.
I get it 100%.
I wanted to put some salacious out there.
The clicks worked, but I was like, man, I'm not going to take.
It caught on though. I listened to multiple podcasts that was like, I'm not gonna go as crazy for Yoshivach as Cody is.
It was like Ray G. Didn't Ray G see something about this?
Ray G.
I was like, bro, what this is. And then it's like, boom. Of course, after that, then it's like all of a sudden everyone's like, yeah, Cody says Yoshivach is gonna beat out T. Higgins, and everybody knows I'm like low on T. Higgins anyway. So now it just sounds like literally cockamamie.
Well, Jack's he's one of the best, and that's why he gets them clicks. He gets the energy going.
He's a dog,
so
man. Shout out to Jack.
Big shout out to Jack. But big shout out to everyone that went to the draft house. That was awesome. That was a ton of fun. All right. The next question I have here for you, sir, is there a landing spot that looks good, but it is a trap? So a potential good opportunity to sell in Dynasty.
I was hoping you were going to run like a sound effect. Go, it's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap.
What's that?
I don't know. I saw this one scrolling through TikTok. It's like, it's a trap. Don't do it. It's a trap. Don't do it. Man, my brain just goes in fucking circles. You know that.
That's why we always have fun shows.
Which one of these lane spots is a trap?
Don't do it. What's a trap?
I think honestly, it's the Zay Flowers one, but it's for the inverse. It's not because it's a trap, like you're going to fall into it and get bit. It's because you're going to fall out of it and you're going to get hosed. You're going to say, "Oh, the Zay Flowers land spot sucks, man. He ain't going to do nothing," and then he's going to be him.
Himothy.com, baby.
You're falling out of the inverse. You're like, man, I've gotten burned by this Baltimore situation. They're not going to throw the ball to Zay Flowers, and then it's going to turn around and Zay Flowers is going to have 130 targets. He's going to go for a rack city and have 8 touchdowns, and you'd be like, that don't make no sense.
It
like,
was a trap.
It's a reverse trap. You trapped yourself because you thought, I'm outsmarting these dudes and I'm not going to take Zay Flowers when you should have been all along.
What about Jonathan Mingo? Is that a trap?
I don't think so. I think it's a fine spot. The easy thing to look at is the first receiver that's been drafted each of the last like 7 years in round 2. It's been a hit. He goes to the spot where he's got Bryce Young. He goes to a spot where there's not really a ton of great receivers. There's a lot of good receivers like Adam Thielen and Chark and Terrace Marshall, I think, are good receivers. But I'm not really worried about Higgins. So the first wide receiver drafted round 2 has been all right. Jonathan Mingo this year, Christian Watson last year, Elijah Moore, T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel, Cortland Sutton. That was the last 6 drafts. So they've been pretty good. And again, that is just on the surface, and that's where you give the NFL credit for things, because going into day 2, it's like, all right, who's the best receiver on the board? And they usually go in the top 40, and it's within the first 10 picks of day 2. So Mingo was that dude. So that wasn't all fish. He was 6'1", 226. He's got the athleticism to do it.
Yep.
He goes down there, and like on the surface, he has the prototypical abilities to be the alpha in that offense. And I don't think it'll take much to surpass Terrace Marshall, as much as Terrace is like, got this. He doesn't got dog in. I'm not going to say that, but he's got this like tenacity to him where he's got the talent to do it. But he kind of fits as well in that flotation of being a number 2 guy, with no real number 1 upside. And Chark is just a sprinter, and he's a 2, and Thielen's just that slot guy. So really, like, I think Mingo is in a space to come in and be that alpha from day 1 with Bryce Young. And I see a world where he can fail, but I don't see a world where he can really like trap you, and he's just going to be like Terrace Marshall was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. 2 guys, I'm going to lump them together because their landing spots are seemingly home runs.
I know where you're going.
Guess who are they going to go with then? Who's the 2 guys?
Because they're going to the same team, right?
No.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Devin A-Chain, Quentin Johnson, are either of those 2 traps, because we love the landing spots.
I mean, no. Like, these receivers get hurt all the time in Los Angeles. Quentin Johnson's going to get his opportunity. I think he's got enough up there. He definitely has enough talent to do the job. And then A-Chain is a fish draft picked in fantasy, period. So guys that it's not going to trap you as much as it's just going to make you look like a donkey, because you're going to draft him. You're going to be like, this guy's, Jamal Charles. And it's like, no, he's not. Jamal Charles could take 300 carries in a season. All these dudes that, you're comping him to from 15 years ago, 20 years ago, could take 300. Chris Johnson, 350 carries, 350 touches. Jamal Charles, 300 touches. There is not a world where Devon Achane gets 300 touches. The world does not exist. You would have to go back 20 years for that world to exist. It's not here. It's not there. It's not anywhere. And according to Cat in the Hat. And I think Devon Achane going with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson down there is great, because they're going to split 250 carries 3 ways, and they're going to just, all have 4 threes, and they're all just going to sprint downhill, zone offensive run. It's going to be great fit, but again, it's a fish play, because if you draft him in the second round, it's not a lot for you.
Yeah, I understand that. So
kind of, I guess, to answer your question,
it's a trap if you don't reach. I mean, it's a trap if you reach. If you overexert yourself to acquire a chain, however you have to do so, whether it be rookie draft, startup pick, or trade, don't overdo it, because then it will be a trap. So it's very, very thin ice there. Okay, great analysis there, Cody, as always. Now let's look at the inverse. Are there some sleeper landing spots? So maybe some good opportunities for players or fantasy gamers to buy into some guys.
People think this Tyjae Spears thing is kind of a low key spot. I think it is, but the injury nukes it for me. if the injury wasn't a question, if I didn't know that not having an ACL is going to deter him from having a career longer than 5 years because he's going to need knee replacement, I would say Tyjae Spears, I think, in this situation. But I'm not. I'm going to say Sam Laporta. Is this fish? Is this fish? Because they literally just moved on from TJ Hawkinson, and they knew what TJ Hawkinson could do. And the profiles are similar. Obviously, he comes from Iowa, and they take Sam Laporta here, and they plug him in. And Laporta was the guy that was high on Dallas's board at the end of the round 1. So the NFL respects him. They love the yak. And now Jameson's out. So who are the receivers in Detroit right now? Right? It's Amon-Ra.
Marvin Jones.
And that's what I'm saying. Is like you're going to have Laporta in here. Yes, it might be a tough struggle to start, but it's a tough struggle for everybody, all these tight ends to start. I think that the Laporta lane spot is actually pretty solid, though, because it's literally Brock Wright and James Mitchell. And nobody's giving enough credit to Sam Laporta that he's going to be able to go in there and beat these two guys out in camp. And he will. And, maybe he only ends up with 47 targets or whatever, 47 receptions, whichever way you want to look at it. Neither are optimal. But if this offense rises, it's going to be exponential in year 2 and year 3. And I think that people are burnt for the same reason about Zay Flowers. People are burnt by the TJ Hawkinson situation, the Eric Ebron situation. But now they waited and they did it in round 2 instead of round 1. And it's okay. Laporta's not good. He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Trust the process, man. They went and got talent to surround what they have in Goff, what they have in Amon-Ra, and potentially when Jameson comes back, they'll have Laporta, Jameson, Amon-Ra. They'll have Montgomery. They'll have Gibbs. There's enough talent there. The ball will spread, and it's not like it's just Hawkinson where it was the first couple of years. It's like all they have is Hawkinson and then Marvin Jones.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be all these dudes, and I think Laporta will pay off.
And I think a lot of the sentiment that surrounded the Laporta pick was, well, they drafted Hawkinson 8th overall, and they didn't really do anything with him. But then you go look at player profile, you go look at
who drafted him,
page, the Lions.
No, who though?
Oh, it was Matt Patricia.
Yeah, what
it wasn't donkey of all donkeys.
Wasn't this regime?
No, it wasn't this regime. That's a great point. But another great point too, on top of that, is it's all relative because you look at TJ Hawkinson 2020 and 2021, tight end 7 on a points per game basis. So it's not like he was a complete donkey. He was good in fantasy, and the fact that Laporta is going to go into the situation where Marvin Jones and Brock Wright and Zylstra are going to be competing for the third, spot on the pecking order in terms of targets. I think Laporta did go to a very sneaky good landing spot, despite what people think, because they're just comparing the Laporta to Hawkinson because they went to the same college. They both got good draft capital, all this stuff. But I think Laporta could absolutely smash in year 1. Someone for me, I think that was a very good landing spot. The sneaky good landing spot was Josh Downs. Wide receiver from North Carolina, goes to the Indianapolis Colts. They went and used a middle 3rd round pick to bring him in. Obviously, he slipped because of his size, but still, he was a mega producer at UNC, had back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons with 2 different quarterbacks. I think that's super impressive. And he's going to get a chance to work with incoming 4th overall pick, Anthony Richardson, all summer. We've already seen clips of the 2 working together in the parking lot, on the practice field, all over the place. And there's a situation, I think very strongly, that whether it be Minshew to start the season or A-Rich, whatever it ends up going, you got Michael Pittman Jr., you got Alec Pierce on the outside. But Josh Downs slides right into that slot role and could easily become the second guy in terms of target share on that offense and could be a monster. What are your thoughts on Josh Downs?
I love Josh Downs. One of the best route runners in the class. And I couldn't even tell you how many, what I do, 6 mocks. I bet you money. I go back right now. I bet you had 4 of those 6 mocks. I think I had Josh Downs going to the Colts at 34th overall. I love it. I think that's a T.Y. Hilton replacement. And he catches a little flack, Downs does on Twitter, but he is, he played with Howell, he played with Drake May, and they both loved him. And now he's going to play with probably the arm talent ways, the 3rd best quarterback he's ever played with, from Drake May down to Sam Howell, then down to A-Rich when it comes to arm talent. The opportunity's there. He's coming in as a rookie to play with A-Rich. You know, that rapport is going to start. It started yesterday or the other day, right, in these rookie camps, whereas it's going to take Richardson until he meets Pittman, until he meets Alec Pierce. I think Pierce is going to be the bottom of that pecking order, plus the tight ends. I think Downs is going to be a guy that I'm going to own quite a bit of.
So Fantasy Plumber in the chat says, is Flowers' talent and situation that much better than Downs's?
Talent, yes. Situation is situational because both these quarterbacks are running quarterbacks with good arms, not great arms. As far as the strength goes, yes, Rich has great strengths. But as far as arm talent goes, I think I'd take Lamar's talent 11 days out of 10 over Anthony Richardson's. And Lamar's already been in that offense, and they just brought in Todd Monken, and there's wide receivers around him, and he's been doing it for how many years? Like Richardson's going to have a growth. It's not just going to come in and be A-Rich. Is going to be him, right? We saw the struggle with Justin Fields, and Justin Fields was much more of a progressed prospect than
for sure
than Richardson was. So it's all fireworks and lightning for Richardson on the ground, but the passing game is going to be a little bit of a slow struggle. Situation, like I said, situational. I'd take Zay 13 days out of 9 over Downs, I think.
Love it. So that's all the questions I have for you in terms of landing spots. Everyone's sticking around. We still got a bunch of people in the chat watching. So I think we're going to give the people what they want. And what the people want is a mock. Cody, I'm pointing you. Mock draft. Oh, baby. Here we go. Mock. The champs are in the building, so we will do a 1-round rookie mock draft here right now to see if these landing spots made a big old difference in terms of how we're drafting these kids. So let me get this nice and zoomed in for you so you can check it out, and we will get underway. Cody, you are the guest. Why don't you go with the very first pick? This is a Superflex PPR tight end premium rookie mock. So we're going to get everyone involved. Who are you going with the 101?
Cody Mock.
Cody Mock, baby.
What is this, Superflex?
This is Superflex PPR tight end premium.
Do I own this 101 pick or am I trading into it?
You are trading into it.
Okay, I'm taking Anthony Richardson.
A-Rich, the no doubt here home run player, I would say.
You teed it up for me. Anthony Richardson goes 101 because we talked about this on patreon.com/executives. When I have the 101, it's a 50-50 split for me. If my team is a champion, right, or a runner-up, or in that situation, I'm probably going to take a Bijan to put me over the top. But if my team, maybe I'm at the 105 to 104, and I try to get up to that 101 because I need a quarterback bad. I'm sitting here with Joe Burrow and Malik Willis and Matt Corral. I need to get another quarterback on the list, and I need to go. I need to shoot the moon again. Try to shoot the moon, and I'm going to move up to 101. I'm going to take Anthony Richardson. I'm going to try to have him be my second quarterback next to Burrow. It's a 50-50 split for me. 50% of the time, I think I'm going to take Richardson. 50% of the time, I'm going to take Bijan. Today, I'm taking Richardson.
Okay, fair enough. So the 102, I am going to take Mr. Bijan Robinson. The draft capital is there. The landing spot is there. Arthur Smith, obviously gets his guy. Absolute beast of a running back. I have no qualms at all with Mr. Bijan Robinson. I think he has a very sneaky chance to even be the rookie of the year this year. NFC South wide the F open. If Bijan Robinson is a massive reason why this team succeeds, I think there's a chance that Bijan is your rookie of the year. So give me Bijan right here, right now. Cody, you are up with the 103.
I'm going to go Jordan Addison.
Okay.
It's really close for me between Jameer and Jordan Addison, but I'm going to go Addison because I need that early output. I want that early output with Addison. I think same with one. Between Richardson and Robinson, I think 3, 4, 5, actually 3 and 4. I'm not going to say 3, 4, 5. 3 and 4, I think can go either way as well. Do you need a receiver? Do you need a running back? This team needs receiver. So I'm going to go Addison here because the opportunities there year one for Addison to be over 100 targets. I think he's one of the only guys. I think he's the only guy that when you're doing proper projections for the season, he's going to be the only player in this class projected with over 100 targets. His breakout rating just came out. He was 4th in the breakout finder with a 44.6% chance of a breakout in his career in the NFL, which is exactly 1% less than what Jefferson's was when he came out, 45.6. Go with the Breakout Finder app today at the breakouts in the App Store, on Google, and on Apple. It's $5, and the 2023 class is officially updated post draft already. Like I said, Addison, 44.6% chance. I'm going to take him right here. I absolutely love the land spot. No bias aside in Minnesota. I just really think that this team's probably going to be top 5 in scoring because the defense sucks so bad, and the targets are going to be going around to Addison, Jefferson, Addison, Jefferson, 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 Addison, 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 Jefferson, Jefferson. That's how it's going to go. And then Osborne, one time.
So what you have inadvertently done was drafted both guys that I put in the thumbnail. So sneaky, good move on your part. Here at the 104, given Superflex, I am going with Bryce Young. Yes, he's small, but he's been an outlier his entire life. He's been having to prove himself time and time again and has continuously done so. I'm going to kind of fall into the wacky, maybe new age way of thinking that we kind of saw right before the draft kicked off, which was this whole S2 scoring on the cognitive scale. CJ Stroud was undoubtedly the guy who scored in the 14th percentile. He never denied it. Matter of fact, he kind of admitted it by saying he's not here to take tests. Houston decided that wasn't an issue for him or for them. And I just wonder if a kid does have issues kind of processing and developing, all that stuff, what is he going to do in Houston where he's throwing the ball to Tank Dell, 5'8", Hutchinson, we like, but a 6th-round pick. John Mechie, we haven't seen him in the NFL yet. Very excited to see him come back after beating leukemia. That's super exciting, but he is yet to be proven. Nico Collins, all these guys, I don't know what he's going to do without a Mecca in Marvin. I mean, look at who he has been passing to over the last 2 seasons. So that makes me a tad nervous. I know a little bit of that goes into Young, but Young is just, by all accounts, that dude. He's going to show up with Frank Reich as the number 1 overall pick. So I'm going to go with Bryce Young here in hopes that the 5'10", 204 stature isn't too much to overcome at the NFL level. So, Cody, you are back up at the 105 unless you have something you want to say about the 101, Bryce Young.
I see you took the belt off your shoulder when you made that selection because you knew it was a fish play. So I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs here, and I'm going to
I can't. I strapped it, so it's tough. It just like slides.
So did I. I strapped mine.
Around your neck, dude.
It's called a chain, homie.
Can I do that? Will it fit?
That's W. You got to flip it. It's M.
Oh, you're right.
So 105, I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs, running back, Detroit Lions. Again, he is what they wished Swift was, the old regime anyway. He's going to be the opportunist guy. David Montgomery's not going to be Jamal Williams. There's going to be much more touchdowns to go around for other guys like the tight ends, Laporta, like Amon-Ra, like Gibbs, because Gibbs is going to be out there playing receiver. He's going to be out there playing in the slot out of the backfield all over because he's one of the best pass protectors we've seen in drafts over the last 5 years. I love Gibbs. I think the situation is apropos, and I'm going to take Gibbs here, and I'm going to have 3 of my top 4 players in this draft class.
You keep passing on the quarterbacks. Is there a particular reason for that?
I don't like them.
You just don't like them.
I took mine already.
Yeah, but this is not just your only team here. This is
my only team, dog.
You just have all these picks. You're a guy who just traded for all these picks. All right, hey, there is someone out there listening to this show that is having to make decisions because they have the 101, the 103, the 105, the 107, the 108. So it's okay. I see your strategy here. But here at the 106, I will go CJ Stroud. He has the draft capital. He does have the accuracy talent, and we'll see if the S2 test is a indicator of potential downfall in the league. Let's see if lack of weapons is his kryptonite in the NFL, but he brings a lot of positives to the table. So I'm going to go with CJ Stroud here at the 106. Cody, I'm teeing you up for the 107. Are you going to take him, or are you going a different route?
Who are you teeing me up to take? Because I'm not taking Will Levis.
Oh, that's who I was teeing you up to take.
I already took my quarterback, man. I got a Rich.
Oh, that's right. That's
And
right. I forgot.
I don't
You're
think
the team
Levis
that
is
has
gonna-
Joe
Levis-
Burrow and then 6 first-round picks.
Yeah, that's how we roll, dude. I mean, think about this. First off, there's only 2 of us here mocking. It's every other pick. Second off, when we had a conversation, chat versus live show on Trade Gods, I told you I traded back from the 103 to the 106. I got 2024 first. Traded back to the 106 to the 204.
202, I think it was. 202, and then
I got 202, 302, and a 2024 first. So I got 324 first. I tell you, by the time it comes around, I'm probably going to have 6 of them, and that's going to be what this is going to look like. Every other pick, me, Hammer, and a big dog. So we got Richardson 1, Addison 3, Gibbs 5, and you're sitting here with 2 quarterbacks and Bijan. And now at the 107, I'm going to take the wide receiver that most have as their top. I have him as 2 for 2023, but I have him at number 1 as the top. Jackson Smith and Jigba at the 107. You ain't going to get him here very much, but I'm going to take him right here, 107. Jackson Smith and Jigba to the Seattle Sea Chickens, because I trust that Lockett will retire in the next 2 years and they will have a better quarterback in the next 2 years. And even if they don't, Geno's going to be still top 10 in completion percentage. Opportunity is going to be there for Jackson to get 120 to 160 targets, even with DK Metcalf in that team, in that seam receiver room. I'll take Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Jackson Smith probably won't be there at the 107, but if he is not there, you know who could be? Jordan Addison. So I think that either way, I'm very excited to come out with either one. And I was on the GOAT District, so shout out JD, Dan, and Theo. They had me on this past week. Theo wasn't there, but he was, he's part of the GOAT District. I was saying to them, I'm with you. We're pretty much lockstep, both having Addison over JSN this year. But I'm starting to talk myself into Jordan Addison being my wide receiver 1 in this class for Dynasty also. Because if the Seahawks have such a good team that they run the ball and they play good defense, I don't know if a volume receiver's upside is truly there when you have the Vikings. I mean, they are as gunslinger of an offense as you can get in the NFL. They play indoors. And guess what the NFC North division is shaping up to be? A damn arena football shootout division. You got the Lions, you got the Bears who are on their way up. You have the Packers that if Jordan Love can take the reins, they'll have a good offense. And then you have the Vikings who are an absolute shootout offense. So I'm starting to talk myself into Addison here, but I got the 108 and I am going Mr. Zay Flowers. When we were at the draft house, I was talking to Alex Dunlap from Roster Watch, and he was asking me about who do I go with in the mid to end of round 1? Do I go with Zay Flowers? Do I go Devon A. Chain, Kendre Miller, Zach Charbonnet? Who do I go with? And I said, I think I'm going Zay Flowers. He told me straight up, he said, I think you're wrong, Matt. I think you're wrong here. And I said, well, Alex, you have been saying this throughout the process that you do see some AB in his game. You see some Antonio Brown in Zay Flowers' skill set, correct? He said, yeah, I do. So I said, on a scale from 0 to Antonio Brown, where do you have Zay Flowers? And he was like, let me think of that. And he said, so I said, wait, let me cut you off for a second. Do you have him above a 6 on the Antonio Brown scale? He said, oh yeah, easily. I said, that's my pick. Then that's my pick. If you're telling me that type of skill set is available with the 108, give it to me all day long, because I do not think that Rashad Bateman is better than Zay Flowers. I do not think that Odell Beckham at this current stage of his career is better than Zay Flowers. So if Zay Flowers is the de facto wide receiver 1 by the end of the season, he is going to be a monster in Todd Monken's new offense. So give me Zay at the 108. Cody, you're up with the 109, and feel free to chime in about Zay Flowers.
I think that was the next pick I was going to make, but I think it's funny that you just jumped me for saying that I was drafting one team here, and I may have access to somebody's rankings, and they've passed on their number 4 player here a few times.
I have, because of the value.
Right.
I can get them later, and I got 2 quarterbacks here. I've pivoted. I am now one team as well.
Right. So I'm going to take Will Levis here at the 109 because I like upside.
Yes.
He
has the upside.
I don't like things that are mid in life.
Zay Flowers is not mid.
Bryce Young and CJ Stroud is mid.
Bryce Young is not mid.
Those are mid things in life. Where's he going to finish?
Not mid things
What's
in life.
His career? He plays 10 seasons in the NFL. What is his career average quarterback finish for fantasy?
Probably 12 to 15.
Mid.
And Will Levis is going to eclipse that.
Upside.
This is where Cody knows how to crawl in the
Upside.
crevices of my brain. I've been over here
Upside.
talking about Will Levis. He hates Atlantic, but I like Will Levis. I've become
Up.
the Will Levis guy.
Side.
Upside. Yeah, well, we can slap you upside your head next time I see you, sir.
Upside, brother. That's I've been saying this since the first mock we ever did. The upside is there with Levis and Richardson, and I just took Rich at 101, and you fell into the trap. Don't fall into the trap. The trap. Will Levis fell to me at 9. Not only did I get Levis, I got wide receiver 1 and 2, I got quarterback 1 and 2, and I got Jahmyr Gibbs. Absolutely upside.
Yeah, there's good upside. No, I you're right, and I have been attacking Will Levis in real life a little bit higher than this.
I know
maybe I did.
I was like,
yeah.
he's gonna fall for this. He's talking
I
shit.
did.
Fall right into this trap.
Hey, you know what? It's sometimes when you have to be the host, you have to take a certain role, and that role here was allowing my guests to shine. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. At the 110 here, give me Kendre Miller. I like Kendre Miller in this class. I love the landing spot. I think on the floor side of his 2023 outcome, he's really sprinkled in as a change of pace kind of spell Kamara, where we all know what Jamal Williams will be. He's just going to be that downhill asshole, that donkey that kind of plows in. He ain't getting 17 touchdowns. And on the upside, we might see Alvin Kamara out 6 to 8 games, and Kendre Miller is going to absolutely be a beast in that offense. So give me Kendre Miller here at the 110, and I'm happy about it.
Is this tight end premium?
It is tight end premium.
So there's conversations to be had right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. A lot of these guys are off the board in general leagues. There's conversations to be had right here about Kincaid. For some people, not your boy. Michael Mayer in Las Vegas. That's a very, very interesting spot. But like we said before about Trey Tucker, there's a lot of people to throw the football to.
Mm-hmm.
Not the cliche mouth to feed, but there is quite literally a lot of mouths to feed there. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take Quentin Johnston.
You're going to let the first-round receiver not fall to the first round of the rookie draft. Good on you, because I would not have taken him at the 112. I'm just not a believer. I'm just not.
I don't think he's like – I don't think he's the dude by any means, but this is only going to be one round, right?
Yes.
I would – you don't have to take Roschon here. You don't have to take Jaden Reed here. I'm not drafting Charbonnet. Like, Mayer's a consideration, but I don't want to draft my tight ends, dude. I don't have any interest in drafting tight ends. Mm-hmm. So the bottom of the barrel really falls to you right here is like, I'm trading back. Trade back.
Yeah. I'm trading back here too.
If Johnston's here and I had to make a pick, I'll take Johnston. That's not going to like, there's literally nobody else on this fucking board that I'd rather have. I don't really love Johnston, but I love him enough to the point where if I can't move, I'm not going to take him and be a jackass and not understand values. Like I love Reed, I love Roschon, I like Bigsby, I love Mayer, I love Mims, Downs. None of these guys deserve to be 111. Quentin, there's a world to right. Value makes sense for Quentin at 111. I just saw him go off at the 1-0, quite literal 7 in a super flex draft.
No, the love for Quentin's going to be there, but when I look at his player profile page and see Josh Doxson, I'm just reminded of why I hate this type of prospect profile. So I will just stay away from him. I do not care if I'm wrong. I will stay away from him. Here I'm at the 112. And I think we need to continue this conversation because I think a lot of people watching are curious as to when to hit the QB button, even in tight end premium. Dalton Kincaid gets round 1 draft capital. But you know who's still there? Dawson Knox. And you know how much money they gave Dawson Knox? $52 million. They don't have an out after this year. I don't believe they have an out until after next season. So Dalton Knox is there. Over the last 2 seasons, Dawson Knox has hauled in 15 touchdowns. 15. Do we think all 15 just would go to Kincaid because he has the round 1 draft capital? I don't know. And then the thought that he's going to be a big slot player, I guess that seems logical in some weird way, but they still have Stephon Diggs there. They still have Gabe Davis there. They still want to get a little bit of a semblance of a run game going, you would hope. They did bring in Damian Harris to kind of fulfill that Devin Singletary role.
Yeah.
And the thing about Singletary in his 2022 season with the Bills, the games in which they were close was the game in which they used Singletary. So If this defense takes a step back, which I think it will, they're going to be a lot more close games. If this division that they're in, all of a sudden, the Dolphins are getting better. The Jets got a whole lot better. And this year, the Patriots have an actual offensive coordinator. If those games are closer, we're talking about more running of the football. I don't know where the ceiling is for Dalton Kincaid. In my ranks, I have Michael Mayer as my tight end 1, but Austin Hooper's there, who's a professional. He's not a superstar, but is he enough to take away? You talk about all the mouths to feed. That takes away a little bit of value. Sam Laporta, to me, if you are going upside tight end, seems like the play if you are going to go tight end. But I don't know if I want to do that here at the 112. Matter of fact, I know I do not. I'm going to leave the tight ends away. I know it's tight end premium, but I'm still like you. If I have a back end of the first round pick, I'm trying to trade into the second round and try to gobble up more picks because I want to take a couple of dart throws here. I want to walk away with Roschon and maybe Laporta or Musgrave later in that round. I want to walk away with A-Chain and Charbonnet late. I want multiple chances in the second round. So I'm definitely looking to trade back. But since I cannot, give me my boy at the 112, Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed gets the 50th overall draft capital. So for all of the for lack of better terms, all the nerds out there that say you cannot have valuable guys in fantasy if they're not taking the top 50, bada bing, bada boom, you check that box. He goes to an offense where he can easily be the wide receiver 2 right away. Gets number 11. He looks awesome already running routes on that team. Jordan Love is going to be a new quarterback, so the preferential treatment to who gets what is going to shift. Watson will probably be the number 1 guy, but Jaden Reed could be right there at number 2. Dogwater Dobbs is not taking that role. So give me the guy who got the draft capital. Give me the guy who's best comparable player on our very website is my boy, Stephon Diggs. I love Jaden Reed. Love this landing spot. So taking him at the 112. Again, I'm trying to trade back and get a few of these guys in this range, but give me some Jaden Reed. So here is our first round. Anthony Richardson, Bijan Robinson, Jordan Addison, which I think is a surprise of the first round, Bryce Young, Jahmyr Gibbs, CJ Stroud, JSN, Zay Flowers, Will Levis, because you tricked me. You got me. It was a trap. Kendre Miller, Quentin Johnston, Jaden Reed. Cody, what do you think of this first round?
I think I won.
This wasn't a competition. This isn't Mock Draft Live. I'll see you on the next episode of Mock Draft Live, and maybe you'll put some respect on my name.
We're tag team champs. Why are you being a dick?
What do you mean? You said you won.
I did.
Yeah, you probably did.
I'm just kidding. No, I think this is a really good
Jordan Addison. It was JSN. It was a good round.
This is a really good experiment. Mock Draft champion. This is a very good experiment because I took Addison here, and I already see a couple comments in the chat about taking Addison over these quarterbacks. And the easy explanation I have for you is what I said to Matty earlier was I don't like the mid things in life, which is Young and Stroud. I understand the value is there with Levis because you can wait till 9, 10, 11, 12 to get him in certain leagues, depending if you know who your league mates are and if they love the A-chains of the world and things like that. But taking Addison at 3, I think was the winning chess piece in this whole draft because it allowed me to take that wide receiver and kind of force you into the quarterback, right? And I don't love the quarterback.
That's a good point.
The 2 guys that are going to be forced into being, think about the studs that are in the NFL right now. There is 8 dudes that are cemented in the top 10 right now, year in and year out for fantasy point output. Young and Stroud do not have that ability. They don't have the ability to get into the top 8, to crack the top 8. I think they're going to be stuck between quarterback 10 and quarterback 15 for most of their career. And that's fine. That's very adequate output for a quarterback, but that's not what I want. I want that wide receiver that, think about him in Minnesota getting 110 targets as a rookie with Justin Jefferson healthy.
Mm-hmm.
This offense is going to be star-studded when it comes to output. Hawkinson, Addison, and Jefferson is one of the best trios you'll find in the league when it comes to 2 wide receiver and 1 tight end. The running game, they're getting rid of Cook. The output's going to be there in year 1 and year 2. If they draft a running back next year, okay, we'll see. But they got Madison and McBride right now. Come on. JSN being down there at 7. Again, we talked about this, you and I did, with the Ken Walker, Charbonnet situation and the overall output. They're going to win a lot of games scoring less than 20 points. They're not going to have to throw the ball a ton. JSN is going to be fine, but he's not going to be at Addison's level. The upside you're playing with Addison is that you saw that 1,500-yard season at Pittsburgh,
Mhm.
Everyone else is a 1,600-yard season from JSN at Ohio State. These are not far off prospects when you can look at the numbers. Now you look at the size; he's 10 pounds lighter. Yeah, but so Jefferson will self-proclaim himself to be a 190-pound wide receiver. So if Addison's 170, it is what it is. I think he's going to be a great number 2 for the Minnesota Vikings next to Jefferson. And if that day does come where Jefferson missed a game, I tell you what, Addison wouldn't not be a top 5 wide receiver in that given week as far as expectation and projection. But if I said, hey, man, this guy named DK Metcalf is out this week, Tyler Lockett's out this week, people are going to say, well, JSN. No. So they're probably going to run the ball 45 times.
Yeah, they'll
He's
run the
not
ball 85 times.
force up there.
Yeah.
I think the overall upside and floor for Jordan Addison is why I took him right there. It's going to be hot. It could be whatever it is, but I'll take him here at the 103 if my team is competing and I need the wide receiver. So it's a long-winded, kind of confusing answer, but I think Addison deserves it, and that's why I'm doing it.
So Senior Football in the chat says Cody's back must have been blown out by carrying the tag team. And guess what? You carried this episode as well. So Cody, thank you for joining the game plan. Please tell everyone listening where they can find you on socials and where they can get all your content. I think you just dropped an article on the website, if I'm not mistaken.
At Carpentier NFL on all platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. I don't know where else. Patreon.com/executives. That's me and Matty putting output there, videos, drafts, leagues, articles, write-ups, things 3, 4, 5 times a week over on patreon.com/executives. And then I just dropped my NFL draft grades for the AFC on playerprofiler.com in the NFL draft section under mocks and analysis. The NFL draft grades, you can see the Kansas City Chiefs scored an A++ all the way down to the Washington Commandos getting an F-. I grade these teams for real, not just my thoughts. It's actual numbers coming in with positional value, player value, and things of sort. Yeah, I mean, let's see what else. I was going to say something else there that we were doing. I did the Futurecast yesterday. So that's another episode you can go check out. And then the NFC grades will be up as well. But Matty, I mean, man, I love doing episodes with you. We do the executive together every single week. If you want more Matty and Cody, just tap into patreon.com/executives. But other than that, man, I appreciate you. Thank you for the platform to come on here and mock against you and get that dub. But thank you.
Of course, every time you want to come on the game plan, you have an open invitation. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. I'm at Matty Kiwoom. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Player Profiler YouTube channel. Smash the like on this video. Leave some comments about how Cody dominated that mock. All you want, that's fine. It helps the algorithm, baby. So you're helping your boy out. And stay tapped into playerprofiler.com because we got the world famous draft kit on its way. The rookie guide is out. Cody, shout out to you for putting together the best rookie guide on planet Earth. So check that out as well. You can tap into the trade gods that comes out each and every Thursday with my man Jason Allwine. That's pretty much going to do it. Get into the Discord if you want to talk fantasy football 24/7. So let's keep game planning, my friends, and I'll see you next week. Peace.
Hey, you like that video? Be sure to subscribe and activate those alerts so you get notified as soon as new videos drop. And be sure to check out playerprofiler.com. We have all the tools for you to dominate every type of fantasy league. We have a draft kit, Dynasty Deluxe, data analysis, DFS Dominator, and don't forget the player rankings to rule them all.